We love old cemeteries and churchyards, so come with us as we explore these places for the past. We are in the village of Cheadle, or once the village of Cheadle, now part of Stockport, but this is the village's war memorial, mostly from the First World War. Very nice, quite simple and straightforward, not too grand, but that's not what we're here to see. We're here to see the cemetery, but to spare you the walk from here to there, what we need to use is the magic of television. That looks a bit more like it. Let's go and see. We are in Cheadle Cemetery, and already it's looking much more our cup of tea. These are all a bit grand. That is from the 1950s, I think. That angel lady there. That one is 1930s, and that one has got a motorbike on it and a helmet and gloves. That is Jack, who dearly beloved and only son of Ernest and Maria Moore. He was killed on the TT motorcycle races at Snaffle on the Isle of Man in 1938. So he was a bike racer that met his end doing what he loved. Yeah, these are all a bit ornate. She is, he. I think that's actually Christ with the cross. And down here we've got the Hawks from 1938. And next to that, it's 1937, so we are getting back. There must be a really old part here. I am quite excited about this graveyard. But not to be outdone. Old Hilda, and there's something we haven't seen before. PH. There's no name, there's just PH. So that's Hilda and PH, who wanted the biggest cross in the whole cemetery. And yeah, I think they've got it. That is quite a large monument. This is quite a busy cemetery. It's quite densely packed in, and it's also quite large, so this may take a while. I hope you're all sitting comfortably with a nice cup of coffee, because we could be talking about this one for a wee while yet. There's someone we haven't seen before. That is a token of love too on the inscription. It's Agnes, the devoted wife of William Fulford, and then William Fulford, the beloved husband of Doris. It must be a different William. Those are grand. There's lots of money in this area. It's quite an affluent area, so there's lots of very large tombstones. But let's see if we can find the old bit, because I'm guessing there is going to be an old bit here somewhere. Let's see if we can get back into the 1800s. It's not a war grave, but this is in loving memory of Samuel from Cheadle Heath, which is another village, and then Sarah, his wife, and Fred, their oldest son, who was killed in action in 1915. He was only 23. This is quite imposing as well, in fond memory of my loving and devoted husband, John Sutton, who died in 1908. And also the woman that wrote that, who died in 1914. That is, yeah. There's a dog with a stick. I really should stop doing this live. I should go and read things and then pretend I'm seeing them for the first time, but let's go and look at this really impressive memorial over here. This is Samuel Bunting of the Lower Car and Churchgate Mills. I'm guessing he was a mill owner. Again, the angel with the cross at the top. And he was born in 1836, but he died in 1904. So we're almost back into the 1800s, but not quite. Let's keep going down this way, because this looks to me like it's getting older. Right. Are we back in the 1800s yet? Who died? Nope, that's the 1900s. 1905. Let's see who's next door. That is William Andrew Hall, 1907. It's taunting us. We're almost in the 1900s, but not quite, I believe, and that is in loving memory of John Henry, the beloved son of John and Lizzie Spray, who was killed at Hazel Grove, which is another village, while on duty in 1913. I wonder what sort of duty he was on. And just behind that, I've just spotted something that we have to go and have a look at. This is all a bit mulchy, but this is Gunnar Pugh from the Second World War, who was in the Royal Artillery and then the West Yorkshire Regiment. So hello Gunnar Pugh, not Mr. Pugh, he was a gunner. A lot of this is what for a better word you would describe as Gothic. I mean, that's a very Gothic looking tombstone there. And over here there's another one of these ostentatious and quite grand, and that is Alfred James Hind of the Robin Hood Hotel, Cheadle Heath, Cheadle and Cheadle Heath are different places. And there's his wife Sadie, and let's, for the sake of completeness, go and see who's on the other side. And there is beloved son Alfred, and also Ada, who relationship is not recorded, but that is again very, very cool. Definitely liking this one quite a lot. Let's see if we got any sort of dates here. This is from the 1900s still. Next to that, 1918. So we're getting a little bit newer, but there will be an old bit here somewhere. I keep telling myself that, and I am determined that I am going to find it. This is another cracking Manchester cemetery with the flight path to Manchester Airport right above us. So sorry about all the aeroplane noise, but this is in loving memory of Percival Hugh Leopold, the eldest son of Richard and Florence Shaw Walmsley, the Shaw Walmsley, who entered into rest 1922, but again gone but not forgotten, and he won't be forgotten as long as that is his headstone and people like me stop by to say hello. We've come to the end of the 1950s, and this looks like it is possibly still in use. 2011, yeah, so fairly recent. So we'll keep heading down this way back into the very densely packed field of tombstones. This is, yeah, I'm quite enjoying this, as you probably noticed. This is another stone with quite an interesting inscription in loving memory of Lewis Mark Francis Christian, MBCM Edinburgh. He worked for his generation according to the will of God and fell asleep October the 14th, 1915 at 55. A beloved physician. This is really, really starting to get quite interesting. And on the other side, we've got a memory of Robert Sixton, but it's another really nice statue, and it's got the really cliched branch shadows across it, just to make it look a bit more atmospheric. This place is massive. I'm beginning to doubt that we're going to get back into the 1800s. The earliest I've seen is the very, very, very early 1900s, but I'm sure you won't hold that against me. Although it's now part of Stockport and Greater Manchester, Cheadle has been a village for centuries, so there must be an older graveyard somewhere. It's either part of this or it's somewhere else, possibly it's been built over. I'll have to do a bit more research because this place has got my enthusiasm going. Oh, and over here we've got a gravestone. Excuse me guys, we're just squeezing through. Sorry, excuse me, sorry, oops. Sorry. Over here, there's lots of unsafe memorials in this graveyard, but that's the only one that merits its own little sign that we've seen so far. So let's keep going this way. Oh yeah, we're right into the late 1900s now, 1977, etc. We'll go and try and find something a wee bitty older. There's people out walking their dogs, there's kids running about enjoying themselves. This is a magical wee place. That's interesting. Some places don't let you do that. You can't fence off little bits of the plot. The rules here are obviously a bit more relaxed than they are in some of the ones we visited in Scotland. And over here, this is quite interesting as well, isn't it? These are all the same, and they're all the way up here. There's quite a few of them. Now, I'm not going to show my complete cultural ignorance by trying to identify any of these as being from anywhere. I think they're Arabic, but hopefully I haven't offended anybody by saying that. They're all along there and the same along the back. Let's have a look and see if there's any further clues. Yeah, Abdullah, I think definitely Arabic. I think we can say that from there. But yeah, that's interesting. I've never seen anything like that before either. It is quite interesting over there, but it's all a bit modern, so we're going to head back through into the older part of the graveyard, which is up towards the gate where we came in. It's interesting trying to figure out how this has been expanded and extended, because they had the ground over there, then the ground over here, and then that bit over there. So there's at least 3 or 4 phases of expansion. Yeah, so it's very early 1900s up the top there, and it's all modern over there, or more modern. And here we're only in the 1930s, so it's been very densely used between sort of 1900 and 1950, and then much less. Maybe that's because funerary practices changed and more people got cremated. No idea. That is a guess. Now, I am standing here and I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Commonwealth War Graves, possibly 6. How many can you see? On over there's more, but let's go and say hello to the guys in here first. So this is our first Commonwealth War Grave that we saw. We recognise these from the back. I'm sure you are starting to recognise them from the back as well. And this is somebody from, the Cheshire Home Guard. The Home Guard were called Dad's Army. It was men who weren't fit for active service on the front, but they armed themselves and got uniforms and got ready to fight the Nazis if they ever actually made it as far as Cheadle. And he is Company Quartermaster Sergeant William Bagley of the Cheshire Battalion Home Guard. Hello, Quartermaster Bagley. Right, let's go over here, because there is another one here, and then another 3 that you can see over there, so bear with me while we go and say hello. Hello, Private Green of the Liverpool Scottish in 1943. Always thoughtful, always kind. What a beautiful memory left behind. Right, then we'll go down to the next 2 that we can go and visit. This is these are all Second World War, so this cemetery does not go back as far as I thought or indeed hoped. But this is Private Dunn from the Royal Army Ordnance Corps, and Pilot Officer Donovan, a flight engineer from the Royal Air Force. Greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. Yeah, okay, I'd rather keep my life and keep my friends than lay down my life. Beside Charles Harry Jarvis and of Annie his wife, we've got our last wee war grave in this section. That is 3rd Officer Murphy. I've never seen the rank 3rd Officer either. This is proving to be quite an educational day. Hello, 3rd Officer Murphy of the Air Transport Auxiliary. Again, 1944. That's probably about enough war graves, unless we find any more, in which case that's obviously not enough war graves. That's interesting. I wonder if that's actually a likeness of the people, because they entered into rest aged 22 and 21. So a married couple in their very early 20s. Not sure what the story was there, but yeah, I wonder if that's actually them. And that one we just looked at has got a reference to Our Lady of Lourdes on it, of significance to Catholics, and down here it is Father Bernard Houghton and Father Andrew Laverty, a priest. So this must be the sort of Catholic corner of the graveyard. Let's see if we can find anything to back that up, or see if I'm just making it up. I think I'm right, yeah. We'll say I'm right and then you won't know any better. Okay, I know we're still in the 1970s with Daisy Winifred Scurfield and Walter Charles Young, but it's, well, he's not actually 1970s, but Ethel was 1980s. But yeah, let's head back up. Although it is more modern than our usual sort of exploration points, it's still, yeah, I like this. This is a nice big graveyard. And this is quite interesting, apart from the aeroplane going over with the blue and yellow flowers. Could that be Ukrainian? I don't know. In the UK, we are largely ignorant of other cultures and other languages. It's a real shame. Time for Google Translate to tell me what I can about that. And through the joys of Google Translate, we can say, yep, that is definitely Ukrainian. Some of these are 1980s, but they go back to the 1940s. So we're still in the 40s and going back up past the war graves that we just looked at. So I thought I'd have to start reading war graves again, but I don't. We've seen those ones. Let's see what's over this way. This is getting back up, going back in time. The closer you get to the entrance to the graveyard, the older they are, which means I think this graveyard dates to about 1902 is the earliest that we've seen. And although it's a lot... Oh, be quiet, aeroplanes up there. Although this part of the graveyard, the stones are all a lot lower than they were at the top, there is the odd sort of standy-outy one, like this one for Alan and his mother Nellie, and also Frank. And it's got the Star of David on it, and a Fernie lettery, I'm not sure, and then another Star of David. So let's keep going up this way. This is heading back towards where we came in. No, actually, let's not head back up to where we came in, because I just had a look on Google Maps and it says down here there's something called the Cheadle Cemetery, so I don't know what that is. Let's go and see if we can find out, if we can find it at all. Ah, right, behind the gate, that'll be the Cheadle Cemetery in there. It is a Jewish cemetery, as I kind of guessed from the name. It's got a really good way of stopping people who don't speak Hebrew from getting in. It says enter C and then the code, and the code is there, where that equals 1. So I assume if you know the language, you know what those 3 characters are. I'm going to find out. I'm not going to try and get into the cemetery, but that is quite clever. So as we can't get into the Jewish cemetery, and it's probably all quite modern, we are going to head back up and look for more ghoul statues. How does that sound for a plan? I just read a sign at the gate and it said where monumental stones are in danger of toppling over, they're going to lay them down, and under no circumstances are you to try and put them back up yourself. I don't think I would try, they look quite heavy. This one over here is quite poignant. It's only from 1984, but it's Karen, a very special little flower, loved forever. Aww. Okay, well I've one more wee wander back up here, and then that'll be that. I must admit, I didn't think anything that was all after 1900 could be this interesting, but there's been some really interesting gravestones here, and really fascinating inscriptions, and yeah, I'm really quite liking it. But we are going to go first, actually. I've just noticed out the corner of my eye, that big black obelisk. Now these are all 1930s, so if that is also 1930, 1938, that has survived so well. So if you want to get a headstone that's going to last forever, get it made out of black granite. I'm guessing the Egyptian pharaohs knew what they were talking about after all. And there's some more self-assembly gravestones if you want to build your own. There are another couple of graveyards in the area, but I think they look like they're much more modern. Certainly from the satellite image they look like they're all regimented and in nice straight lines. So we'll go for a wee look, but they may not be anything that you guys are particularly wanting to see. So I hope you've enjoyed this one, because I know I certainly have. This place has definitely got some of the most impressive monuments and memorials that I have ever seen. That one there is really nice, and the flowers actually add a certain something to it. And I left my GoPro at home, so I'm filming all this on the phone, so you'll have to excuse me if the sound quality is not up to our usual standards, unless you don't like our usual standards, in which case Yabu sucks. Oh, just spotted in here, there is a war grave that is from 1921, and that is boy second class Powell from HMS Impregnable, aged 17. Right, and where there's one war grave, there might be more. So that proves that this part is definitely much older than the bit down there, because that was all Second World War graves, and this is First World War. Can you see where we're going now? Go on, can you have a guess where I'm going to walk to? I'm just going to waffle until I get there, so I don't have to press stop and start again. But down here we have got... oh wow, it's a lady. Worker Elsie Fuchs of the Queen Mary's Army Auxiliary Corps, 1918, aged 26. Now we do not see many ladies in Commonwealth War Graves. If you look at our video from Cumberland Cemetery in Edinburgh, there's a few in there. That's the first one that we've seen anywhere else. Hello Worker Fuchs. I keep saying we're going to go, and then I keep turning around, and in this corner over here I can see... how many Commonwealth War Graves can you see over here? I hope you're not getting fed up with the sight of Commonwealth War Graves yet. There are some other pretty things to look at. It's not all war graves, but they are interesting because they're always of a time and place, and they're people that made the ultimate sacrifice. That is Private Haywood from the East Lancs in 1941. Hello Private Haywood. And down here we've got the backside of another one. I don't think this guy really wants his backside photographed. Let's go round this wee bit here. It is Private Riley of the Durham Light Infantry from 1944. Hello Private Riley. And last, definitely last, because the problem with phones is the batteries don't last, we're heading over here for this little war grave in the corner. And this is, and I'm really running out of breath, and I'm just going to try and keep going so I can do it all in one take. It is Airfitter Lavin of the Royal Navy, again 1941, and I made that without passing out because I didn't breathe. And that was that for this visit. All we had to do was solve the mystery of where the older graves were. It's a mystery that was solved as we walked back to our accommodation. Okay, we found out why that other graveyard only starts about 1900, because this is Cheadle Village Church, I guess, and this is Cheadle Village Church's graveyard, and here we are straight back into the early 1800s. It's got little gems like this. Wife of Charles Walker, gatekeeper at the Salford House of Corrections. My phone battery is about to die. I can't do this today, but all I can say is watch this space. To be continued.